Hi, welcome to the Ultimate Sports Podcast for January 5th, 2018. I'm Madison Miller. Today we'll talk about the wild card picks for the NFL playoffs. Jon Gruden becoming the new head coach of the Oakland Raiders. This reported rift going on between the New England Patriots and the national championship game for college football, and my pick. On we go. Wild card round picks for the NFL playoffs. Tennessee Titans at the Kansas City Chiefs, 420 ABC ESPN simulcast. These two teams did not meet in the regular season. Tennessee is coming off a divisional home win over the Jacksonville Jaguars that they absolutely needed to have if they wanted to make the playoffs. Kansas City is coming off a divisional road win in Denver against the Broncos in a meaningless game that Pat Mahomes started in. The Titans have underachieved this season relative to preseason expectations. Marcus Mariota hasn't played as well as people thought he would. He has more interceptions than touchdown passes this season. The Chiefs have had a tale of 3 seasons at this point, winning their first 5 games. They're losing 6 of their next 7, followed by a 4-game winning streak. That said, the Chiefs are the much better team, and they're my pick here over a Tennessee team that I don't think should have made the playoffs. And Mike Mularkey could very well be out of a job if the Titans do indeed lose. Kansas City 27, Tennessee 16. The Atlanta Falcons visit the Los Angeles Rams, 8:15 NBC. These two teams did not meet in the regular season. Atlanta is coming off a huge divisional home win over the Carolina Panthers to clinch the final NFC wildcard spot. Los Angeles is coming off a divisional home loss against the San Francisco 49ers, in which they sat their starters in. Atlanta isn't the same team as they were last season. They've had some questionable losses. The loss of offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan really hurt them, and Kyle Shanahan did a great job in San Francisco this year, despite going 6-10. Los Angeles has been amazing all season, blowing out a ton of teams, and Sean McVay proved to be an excellent hire. He's the favorite for the Coach of the Year. My pick here is the Rams. Todd Gurley, who's an MVP candidate, could very well win the award, will lead the way. Los Angeles 31, Atlanta 20. Sunday, the Buffalo Bills visit the Jacksonville Jaguars, 1 o'clock on CBS. These two teams did not meet in the regular season. Buffalo is coming off a divisional road win in Miami over the Dolphins, and courtesy of Andy Dalton and the Bengals upsetting the Ravens in Baltimore, the Bills are in the playoffs. Jacksonville is coming off a divisional road loss in Nashville against the Titans in a game that they didn't need and Tennessee did. Buffalo has been up and down all season long and had some nice wins and just awful losses. And Jacksonville's had some nice wins and some difficult losses as well. And Blake Bortles, who is perceived not to be a good quarterback, inconsistent throughout the year, but better in December. That said, the Jags defense has been outstanding all season long. Leonard Fournette will run the ball. I see them slowing down Tyrod Taylor and the Bills, and whether or not LaShawn McCoy plays, I still think Jacksonville wins. Give me Jacksonville 23-10. The Carolina Panthers visit the New Orleans Saints. These two teams met twice in the regular season due to the fact that they're in the same division. The Saints won both matchups. Carolina is coming off a divisional road win in Atlanta against the Falcons. New Orleans is coming off a divisional road loss in Tampa against the Buccaneers, and they still won the NFC South thanks to the Panthers losing in Atlanta. Carolina's been up and down this season, and when Greg Olsen and Luke Kuechly are healthy, they're at their best. New Orleans is in the playoffs for the first time in 4 seasons, and their defense has improved, led by Cameron Jordan and Defensive Rookie of the Year favorite Marshawn Lattimore, as well as their running game led by Mark Ingram and Offensive Rookie of the Year favorite Alvin Kamara. Drew Brees will be motivated, and he and the running game will lead the way for the Saints. New Orleans 31, Carolina 24 is the pick. Jon Gruden's final broadcast for ESPN will be Saturday in the Titans-Chiefs game, and after that, he will officially become the head coach of the Oakland Raiders. This was rumored since New Year's Eve. Adam Schefter of ESPN said on SportsCenter earlier this week that he expected Jon Gruden to get this job, and sure enough, he did. The Raiders gave him a fat 10-year, $100 million contract to pry him away from the broadcast booth. I think it will end up being a nice hire when it's all said and done, but the big splash hires haven't really worked out in sports over the last few years. and the hires that were the ones that end up working out have been the not so popular hires. So we shall see how that goes. And the other big story that broke last night, the Patriots, there's a little bit of a rift between the owner of the team, Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady. Brady thought that the Pats should have traded away Jimmy Garoppolo instead of franchise tagging him and letting him walk for nothing in free agency, since Garoppolo turned down a bunch of contract extensions. And the owner was in favor of Brady, and Belichick was torn that he had to trade Garoppolo. So this has caused a big rift. And Seth Wickersham of ESPN reported this late last night, and now there's a bunch of speculation out there that this could be the end of a great era. Last but not least, the college football playoff national championship pick. We got the Georgia Bulldogs against the Alabama Crimson Tide. And here we have an all-SEC championship game between the conferences and perhaps the nation's clear two best teams. Georgia's coming off an incredible double overtime victory in the Rose Bowl against the Oklahoma Sooners. Alabama's coming off a comfortable victory over the Clemson Tigers in the rematch of the last two national championship games in the Sugar Bowl. Both teams are awesome defensively, although the Bulldogs gave up 31 points in the first half of the Rose Bowl. And the Tide, meanwhile, got healthier on defense, although they lost Anthony Jennings in the Sugar Bowl. Both teams' offenses are very solid, and Jake Fromm and Jalen Hurts have been good quarterbacks for their respective teams, and their run games, both teams' run games have been sensational, with Nick Chubb and Sonny Michel leading the way for the Bulldogs and Damian Harris and Bo Scarborough for the Crimson Tide. That said, I'm going to roll with the Tide here to win their 6th championship under Nick Saban and their 4th championship in 7 seasons. Their defense, like I said, is getting healthy, and that will be a big difference in this game. Alabama 24, Georgia 20. All right, this is a short podcast today. I'll probably do one late Sunday night after all these games, after the 2 playoff games, to recap the NFL playoff games, or Monday night recapping the playoff games and the national title game, depending on if any news breaks. Have a nice weekend.